Teachers always say make the outline before you write the essay. That's just not the way I worked. I would furiously write my papers and then play Operation teasing out that outline from the bowels of my essay. Take that, English teachers. Well, here I am over 20 years later, tail tucked between my legs. They were right. Having an idea of the musical form before you start composing gives you all kinds of efficiencies because you're borrowing material or manipulating material from previous sections. There are 4 basic forms. There's strophic form for vocal music, where you have the same music with different lyrics, like Deck the Halls. Through composed, where your musical material never repeats and goes through a labyrinth of sound. Binary form, which focuses on the concept of contrast, with your A and B sections basically playing tennis. And ternary form, which has contrast, but provides a bit more resolution and balance because A needs to get the last word in. There are a few other big forms like sonata form or theme and variations. Looking at you, Mozart, with your childhood-destroying demonic Twinkle Twinkle variations. But this is butter. No. I mean, yeah, but no, it literally says it's not butter. This is butter. The idea of recapitulating at the end is chef's kiss. I was reviewing a whole bunch of high schooler compositions, and 9 times out of 10 they were through composed. They had one great idea, and then another, and another, and another, until one of them sounded like a final conclusion. Well, when writing educational pieces, hearing a theme again not only makes the audience full of parents, who think their kid is the best in the world, actually engage with the music, but makes the piece more accessible by creating patterns that everyone can latch onto. So let's take a look at one of my pieces for concert band called Phoenix Transcends. This is a great piece of music to look at musical form because of what it's based on. A phoenix lives, dies, and then is reborn. ABA, ternary form. What I really want to explore here is what it takes to develop an A section, how you can manipulate that to create a B section, and what recapitulation looks like, and how you can modify the A section to keep it engaging while you're reintroducing the A thematic material. So look at the beginning here. We're at quarter note equals 140. We have harmonic motion in the upper winds, and we have an ostinato pattern in the pitch percussion on vibraphone. It's important to recognize that to develop thematic material for your A section, it doesn't have to be melodic. You can have harmonic motion, you can have rhythms, you can have timbre and continuity. Anything that's recognizable as a pattern is really what's going to help everybody engage with the music. So let's listen to this harmonic motion and ostinato. Keep that in the back of your head. We're going to move forward, and the next part of A that introduces material that's really utilized throughout the work are these eighth note sections. So you'll notice here it starts in the upper wind, has a little bit of a call and response with the lower winds, and then it's even used in things like the melody here, this counter melody harmonic motion here. You see the eighth notes. There's a new section that takes the melody between the alto sax and the horns. You can see this eighth note pattern again here, and even in the lower brass support, there's that eighth note pattern. The other thing I want to note about this section before we listen is the piccolo here is timbre. It's truly exploring timbre. It's not meant to be a melodic line. It's not meant to be harmony or any type of counter melody. It's truly meant to explore the birds, represent the bird through that timbre. And that's a continuity that's throughout this entire piece. So you want something as an anchor for people to latch onto between the ABA and ternary form. So that's all the material for A. Let's move to the B section. So A is still developing all of that material, manipulating it. And then we get to the B section. And the real stamp for B section is quarter note equals 56. It's tremendously slower. We started out at quarter note equals 140, now we're at 56. Notice that the piccolo, as I mentioned, the timbre of continuity throughout the ternary form, has a big feature for the B section. As we're slower, you'll notice a lot of the wind section is still doing that slow harmonic motion, but now it's in a minor mode. You'll still see some of the eighth note pattern, that is the other big motive that we introduced in the A section. So really all we did to manipulate the A thematic material is slow it down and put it in the minor mode. And the feature is still that timbre of piccolo. As we shift back into the A section, it's kind of interesting here. We use that eighth note pattern to reintroduce the major mode here. Notice some of the accidentals to help introduce that. And then we shift right back in, for those looking ahead, that pitched percussion ostinato, upper woodwind harmonic motion. Obviously the tempo shift too here. And now we're right back at A. Everyone recognizes the beginning of the piece started like this. But you can already see one of the big shifts happening in the recapitulation that helps us modify it to keep it engaging is we started introducing brass a lot earlier. So early in the piece, when we first started, we were primarily focused on upper woodwind sound, right? That representation of the light-hearted phoenix firstborn. Now that it's reborn, it's stronger, it needs to have a little bit more oomph in the timbre. So we introduce brass, we start to have a little bit more of heavier percussion happen. So what happens is when we had that alto sax horn solo in the beginning, we've now shifted it to just be horn, but have a little bit of a duet with timpani to really give it that power. And then immediately following it, we have a brass chorale. So we've shifted this very heavy woodwind motion. Now, recapitulation, let's shove a lot of that metallic brass sound, powerhouse. Still have the eighth note stuff going on. Eighth note here. So this piece is all about taking that harmonic motion, the eighth note pattern, and that timbre consistency of the piccolo, and just manipulating that through the entire work. Musical form is something that everyone in the musical triangle leverages. Composers find efficiencies, educators and performers can learn through patterns, and even the listener engages more when they can recognize themes or motives. So it's really important when you're composing educational music to find a musical form that everyone can follow.